Hello and welcome. Thank you, everyone. Welcome to, I was about to say Meatless Monday, but we are in a special time here and a special day on Friday. So we were going to call it Freestyle Friday, weren't we at one point? And I
Yep.
would like to welcome, I am so excited. I know Dawn is super excited too, to welcome Angel, our
Woo!
special guest. I've been following her for quite some time. I told her I felt like I was interviewing a vegan celebrity today. She is a author, which we'll let her do her introduction too. But she has written, I think, 6 books, right? And
Yes.
she also has been so influential, at least in my journey in the raw vegan world. Not only, I mean, I could read the whole bio, I could go through it, but I love all the books she wrote. She does the vegan. What am I thinking of? The fruit, not fruit, raw challenge, like, to help people understand how to go raw. She's just does so much. I love her channels. She's so engaging when she comes on and talks, and she does a lot of health and beauty things to show us how to keep our skin looking good, which I certainly need. It's
We have all the links to those channels too, by the way, in the description of this video. So
Yes.
if you guys ever want to check any of them out, the links are in this video for you.
And just to, so that I can just do a little bit better introduction, because obviously what I tried to memorize, I'm just getting all, you know, making it all wrong here. So I'm going to read it from my notes here. And I love that picture of you with the apple too that we used for the thumbnail.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
it's just one of my kind of almost daily photos that I take. So,
So, Angel, also known as Happy Wholebeing Vegan, she's a vegan lifestyle wellness coach, raw vegan culinarian, author, and speaker who's completed the Plant Based Academy professional certificate course in plant based nutrition, lifestyle medicine, and raw food mastery in Ireland, which is so super cool. She enjoys helping others to thrive on a plant based diet and lifestyle, and a passion for raw veganism. She has been traveling to more than 30 countries and has gained a deep appreciation for many cultures, healthy practices worldwide that have influenced her holistic wellness approach. And in addition to this, she does group coaching and personalized one on one coaching, leads raw vegan detox challenges, and plant powered vegan beauty workshops, author of 6 books, and featuring a healthy and vibrant plant based vegan and raw diet lifestyle. She holds a BA in French, Spanish, and an MBA and in marketing and international business. She's also a passionate animal lover, vegan foodie, art lover, world traveler with a regular practice of meditation. Dawn, you'll love that. Deep breathing, journaling,
Yes.
yoga, exercise, ecstatic dance, and a deep desire to contribute to the mindful sustainability of our planet. That was such great information. I just had to share so that we know exactly why I'm so excited to speak to her.
Shout out to Buddha 1000 in the
And
chat.
welcome, Buddha. Thank you for joining.
hi
Is it just me,
everybody.
or I can't see her now?
Uh-oh.
I know. I see a black. Yeah, your screen is black. We hear you, but
I saw
it
you
Oh,
looks
at
black on the
first.
screen.
I wonder what happened there.
uh,
That's why I went to YouTube to see if I was seeing the same thing on there. It is.
you're not seeing me on YouTube either?
No, it's just a black. Like I don't know if you can
Yeah,
see this
I
here,
know
but it's
I can see my stream is reloading. Should I leave and come back in?
maybe let's try that.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
My long intro made her disappear. Buddha, thank you for joining on this special night.
She says, smash that like button, everybody. Make sure you go smash the like button. Let's get Jen over to 10 gazillion subscribers.
Right? Yeah.
Buddha, you are the ultimate moderator, girl. Welcome.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Buddha is
Thank you so
excellent.
much.
She is a true fan, I'm telling you. And what we definitely are hoping will happen here while we're waiting. A little bit about why we do this, because we're passionate also to help people understand in different ways how to, be there's so many different forms
Live
to
healthier
live a
lifestyle.
healthier lifestyle, both health and fitness and all kinds of reasons to do this. And not only that, but it saves the animals. And my journey, of course, you guys have heard this a ton of times. I went plant based in 2019, and for 4 years, I have just kept off over 50 pounds. I have no more allergies, no more chronic back pain. I just feel lots of energy. Overall, my skin feels better. It's just been a really pleasant experience for me, and I just am so passionate to tell everybody, you
I'm
gotta
so proud
try
of you.
this. You gotta try it.
Woo!
And I had no idea all the stuff that I've learned over this time, how dangerous that meat and
Can you
dairy
believe it's
is.
been 4 years, Jen?
No, I can't. It just was 4 years on April 5th. It was, what did they call it? Vegan anniversary.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Prince. Today is the anniversary that we lost him in this world as a human
Oh,
being.
I'm so sorry. That was a tough day.
Yeah.
Well, here we go. We can see you. That's perfect. Welcome.
Thank you. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
It was just probably the Restream app. It does some odd things. I was happy when it didn't show up as a blank screen in the beginning. We've had that happen, and people have had to come in on different browsers. So I just wanted to ask, what actually got you started? For me, it was a documentary called Raw, and that was it. And it just turned me into a raw vegan right away. But not everybody does it overnight. So, how did you get started?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you so much for inviting me, both of you who's joining either live replay. I'm gonna kind of go back to my early days as a teenager. I often found that I was now my screen is freezing. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
We can see you. Yes.
We can see you and hear you.
Super. So yeah, as a teenager, I remember not really enjoying what we call meat. So anything that had blood, I was just like, oh, I just couldn't, just didn't want to deal with it.
Grossed out by it.
Yeah. And people around me were ordering like, rare and medium rare, and the blood was coming out, and I was just like, I'm not having this. I'm not having any of this. Also, when people around me were eating like, pig's feet and pig's ears and different parts of animals, I just thought it was the strangest thing, honestly. And I remember, again, like in my teenage years, I guess it was, actually being served like pig's ears and pig's feet. And I think I tried it once. I
Wow.
know for sure I tried it once, and I was just like, no, I'm not doing this. I can't deal with this. So when I was between 18 and 19 in my first year of university college, I'd always kind of been like, I guess, a little bit of a health food person, a little bit of a hippie, and I stumbled into a bookstore and I discovered a vegetarian book, and it was more like the pure kind of vegetarian, it wasn't the lacto ovo vegetarian. However, in the book they did consume honey from bees, and so I figured, yeah, this is it. I'm gonna go vegetarian. So I went vegetarian, and I went back home for the holidays, and I'm like, I'm vegetarian, and there was like hand wringing and consternation, and no, you can't do that, no, and da da da. I caved. I gave back in. I started to eat what others were eating, and then fast forward, about 10 years after that, and for health reasons, I was looking for, I guess, a solution. And in those days, there was mainly bookstores. So I went to a bookstore and I stumbled across a book. I think it was written by Dr. Christine Northrup, and on women's health. And, basically the recommendation was to get rid of, animal dairy, and meat, animal flesh. And I think it said something about fish, but I don't remember. It's been so many years. So then I said, okay, then I'm vegetarian, pescatarian. Along the way, then I guess fast forward a few years, I discovered this whole thing about mercury in the waters, and so I was like, oh, I have to stay away from fish because I don't want that in my body. Um, and for some reason in my head, I thought, well, wild salmon, that must be healthy because it's wild. So I would eat wild salmon periodically. I stayed away from the other fish as much as I could, and tried to avoid dairy and eggs as much as I could, not knowing anything about veganism, not knowing anything about animals or anything like that. I was in my own little bubble, stayed in that bubble for over 20 years. And then 5 years ago, I was on a yoga trip in Budapest, Hungary. And a woman who was a part of our workshop group, I was a participant, so was she. People have figured out I was vegetarian, pescatarian because of what I was eating when we had group meals. And this person said she is a vegetarian. She took me to a restaurant in Budapest, Hungary, and it turns out it was a vegan restaurant. And I was blown away that I did not have to ask for no meat, no eggs, no dairy, no fish. I just couldn't figure it out. I was like, what? This actually this? And
You were already living vegan.
Well, I was,
Oops.
Uh-oh.
I lost your sound.
We can't hear you. We can't hear you.
I was living.
Okay, you're going in and out. Are you typing to her?
Yes. I just told her that she cut out. There you are. You just returned. Oh, now it cut out again. I think.
And
that's why we just had that on the Zoom call. A guy with his connection was doing that.
Okay, you just got clear again. Oops. Okay, I think she's gonna go out and come in. The story was just getting interesting. While we're waiting,
right at the good part,
I
right?
wanted to say thank you to our superb, excellent co-host and producer of this stream who gets this all ready and set up for us. JJ Video Reacts Dawn and Vegan.
Thank you, baby.
Has given up the pizza for good.
Glad to do it. Yes. No more pizza for me. As much as I love pizza, can't eat it. Can't do that to my body. But there are vegan pizzas out there. You make a great vegan pizza. So it's not like I'm suffering, you know what I mean? So, yes. And it's so funny. It's like you don't miss what you don't have. It's like I can miss it because I know what it was like to have it. But when you go without it for so long, you don't miss it as much because it's not there anyway. So you can't miss what you're not eating on a regular basis. It'd be different if I just stopped eating it. But it's been so long, so far removed now. I'm good.
I'm really proud of you for doing that. And, once you clear your body out of the other stuff that you're eating, your body, it's kind of hard to believe when you're in that situation. It's kind of like if you start working out and your body starts craving working out. It's like the same with food. When you get rid of like processed food and like really greasy, unhealthy food, you would think you'd start craving it more and more the more time goes by, but you start craving exactly the fresh food and it all starts to look weird to you and smell weird even when you smell meat and it looks like terrible. You'd be going through social media and see something and it's like, that's a cow, and it becomes about the animals later on. For me it did anyway. But okay, welcome. She's returned to us. They can stop hearing me ramble.
I'm on my phone. Can you see me?
It's so weird. We can't see you.
I can see her.
The screen's black. You can?
Yes.
I'm in the middle. Okay. I'm in the middle because I'm on my phone.
Okay, it's doing that weird thing on my computer now, where I see her on YouTube, but on my screen I see the black screen again. So you're fine. You're fine. Don't worry about me.
No worries.
We're all having the issues.
Yeah. So what I was saying was, it was more, I guess, what we call nowadays plant rich, something like that, plant forward. So, because I was trying to avoid dairy and eggs as much as I could, and the whole fish and meat thing. So, so once she took me to this restaurant, and I discovered, there were actually, what we call vegan restaurants. I just started to dive really deep, just look into all the vegan world details. At first, I thought that veganism was only a diet. So I was really only looking at the food aspect. And then as I kind of progressed on my journey, I started to realize, no, it's really about the animals and excluding animals as much as we can from our lifestyle, including clothing, furnishing, skincare, travel, entertainment, and all of that. So yeah, that's basically how I got into the whole vegan world.
That is really cool. And how did it
Amazing.
become about, like you said, that happens because I didn't know. It was like I woke up from this sleep for 42 years when I discovered this, and then I was still learning on my journey as I got in these vegan groups, and you start to see, like, wait, you learn different things. Like vegan, it doesn't just mean you don't eat cheese, and it became about the animals. Now, how did you become emphasized on raw food? Because obviously that probably started later in
Yeah.
the journey.
Yeah. So I started off as what we call a junk food vegan. I started off with everything that had to do with vegan burgers and French fries and pastries, donuts, cookies, everything, muffins, whatever. If it said vegan, I was like, yes, please, may I have one of those, possibly two. Yes, yummy, totally.
Right?
And then fast forward to 2019. And I don't know what it was, but I guess I was searching for more. I don't know. And all of a sudden, I just started to see raw vegans show up on YouTube. And I started to watch raw vegan videos. And I was like, yes, this is for me. I feel like this is what I want to do. And so as usual, I just jumped in overnight, and the next day.
Did you see Annette Larkins? Was she one of them?
No, I discovered her afterwards. I really admire her.
Yeah, she is amazing with her nut burgers and stuff like that. And she's like 80 something years old, and she looks like she's like in her 40s.
I really, really admire her. I saw one or two interviews of hers, after, I guess, about 3 years ago, and I was just super impressed.
That's when we saw her. Like, she grows all her own food down in Florida. That's insane.
I really, really admire her. Yes. So for some reason, I just started to see these raw vegans. Now, I think what made the raw vegan lifestyle appeal to me and seem possible to me was because about 20 years ago, when I was what we call vegetarian, pescatarian, I had been told that I was obese. My BMI was slightly over 30, like 30 point something. And I was being told that, I had high cholesterol. I needed to take, what they write on a piece of paper that you're supposed to take. And I just said, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
So I had like several, people in the health world telling me I needed to go on these things that come in a bottle. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that.
Right.
And one of them said, well, maybe you should see, or maybe you would, think about seeing a nutritionist. So I went and I saw a nutritionist. Shout out to Sabrina. And at the beginning, I was very resistant. I just wasn't tapping into what she was, suggesting to me. I was very resistant. And I somehow, figured out, okay, well, here's what I'm going to do. And so I started to eat fruits and a small amount of nuts for breakfast. And then a big portion of beans, rice, vegetables, herbs, and spices for lunch. And then for my evening meal, I went back to fruits and a small amount of nuts. And I lost tons of weight. Got down to the bottom of what we call the healthy range for my height.
Wow.
and everyone.
Kind of sounds like what I'm doing.
I
Oh.
know. I was about to say that sounds like your breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like it was. You've been
Yeah.
having the beans and rice for the lunch.
How crazy is that?
Yeah, and so everyone was asking me, the cardiologist, the GP, the nutritionist, people in my life were asking me, how did you do this? I mean, people were taking notes, literally taking notes. And I thought, I mean, for me, it was normal, to be honest. It was super normal. Now, of course, I did also, exercise. I walked, and I did some aerobics, and I did some light weightlifting.
Yeah, I work out 5 days a week.
Yeah, so I was doing light weights. I'm not a heavy lifter here, but anyway. And so I lost tons and tons of weight. Obviously, got rid of that cholesterol issue, got rid of that obesity issue, got rid of the inflammation, and all the nonsense that was going on. And so when I discovered, the whole raw vegan world in 2019, I was like, yeah, I mean, this seems doable. I mean, I super thrived on these fruits, vegetables, and nuts, and got my weight down, even though. So between the time that I lost all of that weight, like about 20 years ago, and then between 2019, I had increased my weight again to some extent, but not to the obesity level. But I still was, a bit chunky. And so, anyway, for some reason, the raw vegan diet and lifestyle just really appealed to me. And so, again, as usual, I just jumped in, started doing it. And then I started to mix, like, let's say I, went on a trip, then I would then introduce more of the cooked vegan meals along with the raw vegan. And then like fast forward to, let's say, almost 2 years ago, I was like, yeah, I really need to lean like more, shall we say, more into the raw and kind of stay as close to 100% as I can, because that's how I feel best.
Yes.
I notice when I do introduce cooked vegan meals, I feel more sluggish. I feel, my digestion slows down a little bit. And so
Yeah.
I personally feel my best on a raw vegan lifestyle. That's just me personally.
I am completely with you.
I get it.
Started out raw, and this brings me to another question. I was raw for about 6 months, and I like to fast throughout the day unless maybe I have a piece of fruit or something like that throughout the day, because same reason, like cooked food tends to make me feel sluggish, and not all like raw food, but I just really, even before I became vegan, I like to fast throughout the day and eat one meal. I was just eating the wrong meal. So I never lost weight doing it that way because of the meat and dairy that I would consume in that little bit of time. But what I was going to say is I really just needed to put some weight on. That was my first reason. And that sounded weird because I had been up and down my entire life, this diet, that diet, Atkins, all these unhealthy diets I realized now that I was on. And then this actually kept the weight off, but I ended up losing like too much weight where I didn't feel comfortable, and I didn't know how to sustain on the raw without rice, beans, and potatoes, and how to get my weight. Do you find that, do you still introduce a little bit of cooked food now to maintain that? Or I know some people can be completely raw without worrying about that.
Yeah, no, I personally don't worry about my weight. I know people in my life worry about my weight, and I figure that's their concern, not mine. So
Right. I love it.
I really don't worry about it. I have had comments from people who are close to me. Wow, you're really looking a little bit skinny, or you've lost a lot of weight, and I just brush it off. And here's
We've
why.
been through a phase in life that people think that if you've lost weight, it's something wrong with you, right? Like it's like that's a good thing.
I went through that terribly 20 years ago when I lost all that weight. And the reason I don't pay attention to these people anymore, although I love them dearly, is because when I was obese, they didn't say to me, you need to lose weight. They didn't
Right.
say to me, you're hurting yourself. No. They didn't say that to me. Then when I lost the weight, I was in a very healthy, I was at my strongest. I was at my most resilient. I had like, I used to, kind of pat myself on the back and say I had these Hollywood arms because I was lifting my 8-pound weights. And, for me, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
And, then the hand wringing started. Oh my gosh, you've lost too much weight. Oh my gosh, you're too skinny. And I, 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 I to some extent did pay attention to them, because I felt like because I was on the kind of what we call the cusp of the lower end of my weight range, supposedly, according to the charts that are out there in the world, for by your height and this and that. So then I kind of climbed 10 pounds more or less, and I did that basically just by increasing my calories by 100 or 200 calories per day.
Yes.
So I personally do not worry about whether I am underweight. Well, first of all, I'm not underweight. Secondly, I don't worry about how much I weigh. I haven't weighed myself in probably 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't worry about it. And when people comment to me, "Oh my gosh, you look really, you look like you lost a lot of weight," I just like, yeah. That's it. I keep it moving.
I think you look great. I don't think you look too skinny.
Yeah, you look fantastic.
So many people are overweight that it makes us look skinny when we're actually at our optimal weight, But
that's a good point.
I don't ever worry about it, and ever since then I pretty much have sustained the exact same weight, fluctuating a little bit. Like if I do more raw one week, I might go down. I'm sure I don't weigh myself, but it's like a lot of people don't realize with this diet, it's not like other diets where you have to really count everything that you're
That was
eating.
a good point, Jen. You said so many people are obese that it makes us look skinny when we're actually at our optimal weight.
It's true though. And I heard
That
this
is
thing
true.
one time where someone said, "Did you ever see an animal in the wild that was like overweight? That a deer walks around because he knows what he's supposed to eat, and he eats that, and he eats until he's full, and not doesn't have all these crazy other people, all the cow's milk and stuff that he's eating. He's eating what he's supposed to eat." And it's like, and so the domesticated animals are different now. We kind of fatten up our cats and things because they're eating processed food usually. But it's so, it's interesting to hear your journey, because I had the same thing happen. People were like, "Oh, you need to give her some food."
Yeah,
I think who's healthier than us?
Sorry?
I was telling them, no, she's good. She's healthier than us. I've been watching her. She's eating nothing but vegetables and fasting. So she's right. She's good.
Yeah, I think we have normalized the 1/3 of the population that's overweight, the 1/3 of the population that's obese, and we have now started to bash the 1/3 of the population who are in the quote normal unquote range. So based on personal experience and based on the people who were criticizing me that I was too lightweight and they were either overweight or obese at the time, I don't pay attention to any comments, and I love them dearly. I love them dearly. I appreciate them. I feel like they're out of perhaps, out of love. However, I feel that there's also some fear intermingled with those feelings, and I don't function on fear if I can avoid it. And so while I appreciate them, thinking of me and, being a little bit worried perhaps, I really don't pay attention.
Yeah.
Good for you.
That's what we
fear is not our friend. That's the only thing we have to fear is fear. Fear is very debilitating, and it keeps you from living your best life.
I agree.
I agree too. And there was a thing that I just forgot the saying I was going to say, but you did the quote. That was the best one. I like that. Nothing to fear but fear itself. Oh, I was going to say what you said about fear too. It almost makes people think that you're sick.
Yeah.
If you're if you've gotten yourself healthy and you look a lot skinnier, I've noticed people kind of give you a look like, what's wrong with you, so, and that can instill fear in you if you let it, get in. But like I said, I knew I was eating vegetables, and and it's like, okay, I'm at my high school weight, I'm happy now at 42, and I'm like, and I'm assuming you didn't have to take those pills, right?
I did not. I refused. I never ever took the piece of paper that they were trying to give me and went somewhere to get a bottle of something. Never. I just said, I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it. So I just told myself, this was, over 20 years ago. I told myself, I'm just going to figure it out. That's it. I'm going to figure it out.
I love her voice.
I do too. That's why I remember I heard you the first time in a room on Clubhouse, when that was, maybe it still is, but I don't know. I just kind of got over to YouTube and Facebook, and it was like all these social medias were just too much. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I'm not on Clubhouse anymore, but I'm glad that we met over there.
Right. I was like, that's when, and then when I saw you on YouTube, Instagram, I think is where I saw you the next time, and I was like, oh wow, and we're doing this show. I'm like, oh, she probably don't want to come on my small channel.
Of course I do.
Of
course I have a small channel. Of course I do.
That's whatever happened to Clubhouse? Is that even still a thing?
Supposedly there's still people over there enjoying it. I just kind of dropped out last summer because of, just some schedule changes in my life. And I just was feeling also, it just wasn't a good match for me anymore.
Yeah.
I think it was super duper helpful during the whole global shutdown. As we emerged from the shutdown, I just felt like people were kind of loosening a bit of the, grip that they had on that app. I know there's some people I know who are still on it, and obviously it's serving a purpose. And so if it's helping some people to, communicate in the way that they want to communicate, that's great. And I've met some awesome people through that app, and so I'm grateful for the app. It's just that I just decided to kind of let go.
Yeah, focus on the others.
Yeah. Us
sometimes
too.
It's, and
I haven't been on there in a couple of years.
And I went back into it, maybe like last summer like maybe over the winter. I can't remember, but I went on there just to like see if it was still in existence. And it was so different. I kept going to these lives, and they weren't lives, they were recordings. And it just was very different. Like then they didn't even allow recordings, I don't think, or you could record it. I don't know, but it was wild. But I'm glad, like you said, that I met some really good people there.
Yeah.
So it was kind of, I think the visual part of it for us, we liked being able to, like, especially J Video Reacts, she likes to create videos. So like doing it on YouTube and things is, you can get that visual with what you're explaining.
I agree. No, I agree. It does make a huge difference to see people.
Definitely. And so this is where you were, okay, you've gotten this and you've adopted this raw diet. Now, how did you become like wanting to help other people? Where did it lead into that, where you became like a writer and coach and things?
Yes. So in 2020, with the world shut down the way it was, still not sure what's happening, but that's another story. So with the world the way it was in 2020, I was like, well, I can't travel, and I can't do this and that. And my coach recommended that I start coaching people. So I was like, all right, I'll do that. And I was like, well, I've gained so much knowledge that I want to share. So I started to write these short ebooks, put them up on Amazon. People can download them. And kind of get some information that I was learning along my journey that I wanted to share with others. And so that's how the ebooks came into reality, I guess from 2020 to last year, 2022. And and I just kind of just started to offer like one-on-one coaching, or I did a couple spring detox raw vegan challenges, one in March and one this month. So a few people signed up for that, and I had some one-on-one coaching involved with that as well. So it really was out of a desire to help others on their journey, wherever they are. If they're, junk food vegan, whole food plant-based vegan, raw vegan, standard
Hmm.
diet, flexitarian, whatever they're trying to do, I just want to help them along their journey.
That is great. That truly is. And did I read that right? You've been to 30 countries.
Yes, I've been to over 30 countries. I'm hoping to add some more to those countries.
That is awesome. She
That is
is quite
really
the
cool.
world
Wow,
traveler.
30 countries. I don't even probably can't even name 30 countries, unfortunately. No, I'm just kidding. But it is, and so you've incorporated a lot of this. Where do you feel like you've been that is most accommodating? Where you felt like it was really a difference from here, like that supports more plant-based or vegan?
Yes. So far I would say Madrid, Spain is quite I wouldn't say it's vegan friendly overall, but what I am very impressed by in Madrid is the number of pure vegan restaurants. I was told by someone, because I was going to Spain before that. I've even lived in Spain for a year because I studied French and Spanish for my undergraduate. And of course I wasn't vegan then. I wasn't even vegetarian then, way back when. And I I had a conversation with someone once in Madrid, and I said, "Oh my gosh, it's so amazing that there's so many pure vegan restaurants here." And the person said to me, "Yeah, because it's such a heavily animal-based culture, there was this kind of need to just go the extreme way and just go the opposite and create these pure plant vegan restaurants,
Wow.
not the kind where you have some vegan options on the menu and the rest is animal based. No, no, no. So apparently some people felt like they needed to just take it to the other extreme, and so that's the result. So they, I personally don't find it too difficult in Madrid to eat plant exclusive, and then also there's some meals or little tapas or little snacks and things like that in Spain, across Spain, that are accidentally vegan, so that's helpful as well. Or you can veganize dishes quite shall we say quite easily. A lot of times the famous paella, you can veganize that. You tell them you don't want animal based in there, and you ask them, you can ask them if the broth is vegetable or not, and et cetera, et cetera. They have, for example, they have this famous, well, popular anyway, like a tuna, tomato, oniony salad. And I've asked, when I went vegan, I would ask them not to put the tuna in there. So,
Right.
and they would make the salad. So I have found it, they do a lot of like sauteed mushrooms if you're into that, sauteed vegetables, and if you're into that. It's like you can put together like side dishes as well and make a complete plant exclusive meal. I find more easily, even in traditional restaurants in our cafes in Spain, across Spain. The other place that had a good number of plant exclusive restaurants is Prague in the Czech Republic, or Czechia. And
Okay.
I really, really enjoyed eating some of the local veganized versions in the pure vegan plant exclusive restaurants. So that was great. And then a couple others I would mention, not that they have like loads and loads and loads of vegan restaurants, but what is great about Dublin and many cities across Australia, so Dublin, Ireland, and then several cities across Australia, I found is that it's, I don't know if it's like required or normal or whatever, but a lot of the traditional restaurants have several, or at least one or several vegan options. So even though I didn't find a lot of pure vegan restaurants when I was in those places, what was helpful for people like me is they had several beautifully yummy, awesome, amazing vegan dishes. And so that was so helpful, when I was traveling. So I would say, yeah, those places were the most, for me, for the most vegan friendly.
Wow, that's so
That's
neat.
good to know.
I was in Dublin many, many years ago before I ever thought about being plant based, when I didn't even know what a vegan was, or if people were from Planet Vega, or what was going on with that. I remember for a while not really understanding why not to eat dairy, and then I just knew that it was part of this raw diet, that you didn't eat any dairy, and then I really figured out at some point what happens, and I was like, whoa. And I think that for me is when it kind of shifted over to where I was becoming a true, I guess, in the sense of the lifestyle, once I learned more about what happened with animals. When do you think in your journey that it shifted from just like a diet where it's like, oh, I could cheat this weekend or that weekend, but it's like that's not even in my options anymore because it became not about me.
Thank you for that question. I think this is a super important question. I feel like I'm getting chills, goosebumps, saying, just even thinking about it. This is a powerful question. For me, it was when I started to follow, well, it was a combination of watching documentaries that showed the non-human animal experience in these slaughterhouses, such as, Dominion, Earthlings, and others,
Mhm.
in combination with discovering animal sanctuaries on mostly Instagram, and observing the animals who either was still going through the trauma of having been rescued, and or stepping into their true nature as their own unique personalities and their own unique species. They were trusting humans, they were trusting each other of their own species, they were trusting others of other species whom we still call animals. And I am still in awe of the animal sanctuaries all around the world whom I follow, or who just show up on my feed, and who are caring for non-human animals, and who are showing the true beautiful personality of these sentient beings. And it was when I understood that it was no longer an option for me. It was no longer a choice. It was no longer a convenience or an inconvenience.
Mm-hmm.
Those questions and thoughts, to me, were eradicated. And yes, I know it's very challenging. It's super challenging to go somewhere and you have like one salad option, and
Right.
maybe some bread with some olive oil, and you're like, at least for me, I'm like, oh gosh, this is all I have. But I have decided that, yeah, it's limiting sometimes. However, for me, it's not really a conversation
Yeah,
anymore.
not a choice really. It's just what you
No.
do, and you kind of, like I tell people too, when you go in the store, it's like your eyes just go straight to what, or you're shopping online, you've got all your products that you always get, and your fruits and your vegetables, and you become to think of that as meals, because I think we grow up, we think of a meal differently than I think of it now. Like a meal was, you have to, you're programmed, that meat, you got your side. And so it almost feels like at first you're eating all the sides and not the main dish, but it becomes your main dish. There's so many things like beans and rice, if you're not interested in going completely raw, that you can eat. There's so many healthy things, and there's junk foods, obviously. We went through this phase where our
We
freezer
did.
was packed with every kind of
Chicken nuggets. Well, not chicken nuggets, but you know what I mean. The
the
Gardein ultimate chicken patties, and the nuggets, and the Beyond burgers, and
I
of
think
course
it's
French fries.
important to know, for people to know, that they can not have to miss out on comfort foods, and as you get better you can create your own meals, out of just the whole foods. Like, people are making these things on, I'm not a great cook like that, but I see people making burgers out of beans and things on their own without even
Yes.
buying it. So I just think it's so interesting how you just have that mind shift where once you clear out of that stuff, your body craves the fruits and vegetables and craves the whole foods, even like even when a couple times we've, I've been completely whole food now for a while. It was like raw over to little bit of cooked, then junk food vegan, then back to raw, and then I was like, oh, okay, I feel like I need a little bit more now because I've been eating all that. So I'm kind of in this 90% raw, 10% beans and rice and different, things. But you find what feels right to you, but it always feels right not to eat animals, at the point when it shifts. What other things do you bring like to the table in your coaching for people by all of the traveling that you've done? I was reading in there that you do like meditation and things. Are those from things you learned in other cultures?
Yeah, I think I kind of tapped more into the meditation, deep breathing, chanting, journaling world through the multitude of workshops that I was lucky to attend, participate in during my travels, because I've actually practiced yoga in about 15
I love
countries
yoga.
through my through my traveling, and some of them involved, chanting or journaling or deep breathing, meditation, not just the physical practice of being on the mat and, all the positions and the asanas, but some of these other elements. And so I just became and then I had a yoga practice in the city I was living in before as well, when I was doing all that traveling. So like my home base practice, and as well as going to different places for workshops. So I would call myself a yoga tourist.
I like
So
that.
yeah, and so in my coaching, I don't look at this as a diet only, just as in my own personal life. This is not a diet. For me, it's a whole lifestyle. You might call it lifestyle medicine. You may call it, different, different titles and labels. And so when I speak with people who I'm helping along their lifestyle journey through coaching, or just in life in general, when I'm talking to my loved ones, for example, I really try to help them to kind of go beyond the plate, I guess you could say, and to think about, like how are they treating themselves? Are they getting some, quiet time? Are they getting enough sleep?
Right.
Are they, do they want to think maybe about meditating, even if it's 5-10 minutes? I started like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I was so, oh my gosh, I was so just all over the place. When I first started meditating several years ago, I just did not have the discipline to sit still. I was so restless.
Hmm.
I just could not sit still. So I would literally like have to, like, well, not have to, but I chose to like set my alarm for at least 5 minutes, to just sit still, just to discipline myself, because I was just always on the go, corporate America, go, go, go. So
It does
I
that to
try
you.
to, yes. So I, suggest to people, take it slowly, just be kind to yourself, just be gentle with yourself. If you want to, get into some other modalities like essential oils, just sprinkle, just put a little few drops in your hair or on your wrists, behind your ears, on your bedding, your clothing. Light a soy candle, and just enjoy the beautiful light of the candle, the beautiful energy of the candle. It's so soothing. Add some herbs and spices to your water, to your smoothies, to your juices, to your meals, to your dips and sauces and dressings, whatever you're making, your salads, whatever, toss some herbs and spices in there. If you want to get into herbal tinctures that have, so many other benefits, or herbal teas, herbal concoctions and decoctions, whatever you want to call them, these elixirs and all of that, get into some of that too. There's so, if you want to, kind of, raise your vibration, feel a little bit happier, a little bit more energetic, there's certain herbs for that, spices for that. Of course, raw foods will do that.
Right.
Yes.
Totally.
It's so
Totally.
interesting what raw foods do. Like they definitely increase that vibration. You just feel differently.
Totally. And, the deep breathing is awesome. I mean, helping people who have, for example, some constipation, And I find, I found in my personal practices, when I really I was diving deep into, and I still do, but when I first started to dig into, the deep breathing modality, I found that my digestion was better, my elimination was better, the bowel transit time was better, and so I recommend to people, who might be experiencing some constipation, or who might need to kind of like relax a little bit more, get some better sleep, think about maybe incorporating adding some deep breathing into your daily rituals and practices. And I even have a page on my website with some breathing suggestions if anyone is at a loss for, oh my gosh, where do I start. And so yeah, for me it goes way beyond that. It sunshine.
I like Wim Hof breathing too.
Yes, and I actually have a link to one of his, I think it's about 10, 11 minutes. One of his practices. I really love that one. Yeah. And
wait a minute, is that the one where he makes you breathe for like 30 breaths and then you...
That's it.
I use that when I do yoga first, and then I go right into that breath work session. I love it.
Yes, so those are awesome. He has the whole cold water exposure.
I'm a little bit of a wimp. Dude, do the cold showers. I'm telling you, they are so good. It takes some getting used to, but they are so good. You feel so exhilarated.
I'm a bit of a wimp. Yeah, I'm a bit of a wimp when it comes to the cold. So what I do is I just kind of gently, very, very, kind of, shall we say,
warm, chill it up a little bit at a time.
And I interviewed a woman who is a Wim Hof trainer. She's an expert.
Wow.
And she said, oh yeah, it's helpful. It makes a difference, even if it's just a few degrees. So that really kind of encouraged me. I was like, all right, then I can stick to that. Then, I interviewed another one too. I interviewed two different Wim Hof expert women there, and yeah. I mean, he has some really great modalities as well, and there's some others I really like, and suggest that people try to look at this as a total package, a total toolkit. We all have different tools, get some fresh air, sunshine, exercise, go look at the flowers, go look at the little insects flying around, do whatever makes you happy, go walk in the park. Walk in the park, do, just don't only think about, what's on your plate, I guess, is where I'm going with this. And so that's what I share with people whom I'm helping on their journey to yes, of course, focus on what you eat, but that doesn't mean that you're never going to have a donut. I mean, I have vegan cookies sometimes, and a vegan burger here and there, that's actually what we consider a cooked a burger. Yeah, I mean, it's either, my thing is when I eat cooked food, it's out of three reasons. It's out of curiosity. Oh my gosh, there's that, vegan cookie. I wonder how that tastes. All right, I think I'll order one of those. Or, it's out of convenience. I might be somewhere and there may not be anything that I, want to eat that's raw, or that they don't even have anything that's raw. So I'll have something cooked. And it's, for me, the third C is communication. And this used to happen a lot when I first started on my journey. And that's how I started this whole kind of social media world, to share my vegan experience. It was to communicate and to prove to myself and to others that, we can thrive on a vegan diet and lifestyle, even when we're traveling. And so that was why I started this whole social media journey, and how I kind of ended up to where I am today.
It's funny, the circle of events. And I do feel like in some ways, if you've been somewhere or you understand the journey, by you going through different phases, or not saying, I just, woke up one day and said, I'm going to be raw vegan, and I've been raw vegan for 20 years. That person might not be as good at helping, someone who is at the beginning of their journey and they're trying to figure out, how to work it out, because you understand the different phases of where they're at and what they're, on. And it's so funny to watch how people go in this circle and then it becomes a passion. which it has for you. Now you're, not only doing this for yourself, but, and how did the name come about? Because your website is happywholebeingvegan, right? .com.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And I remember you just rebranded a little bit to this name. What
Yeah.
created that change in you?
Yeah. So formally, when I first started out, I used the name a yummy vegan, and it was really to show the the yummy vegan food that I was enjoying as I was traveling. And then fast forward recently, just through a series of events, I just decided, you know what, it was time to step into, shall we say, more of a lifestyle perspective, more of a full body, whole being, head to toe approach.
Mm-hmm.
The vegan lifestyle makes me super happy. I've had people, comment on how happy I am. Someone was questioning, how is it that you're so happy? And he said, it must be the fruits. And I'm like, yes, it's the fruits. and,
Right.
and
Awesome.
and I recently discovered the word and the concept whole being, and I started to dive deep into that, and I was like, yes, this is it, because it's not just looking at only what we call the good, but it's also looking at the, shall we say, not so good, the more challenging, the more difficult elements and aspects of our lives. It's looking at us as a whole being, not just the parts that we like, and not just the
Right.
parts that we enjoy,
Right.
and that we find comfortable or easy, etc. And so, yeah, I decided to take the opportunity to step into, the evolution and the transformation, and to kind of rename our community Happy Whole Being Vegan.
I
So that's
love
how,
it.
yeah.
It's awesome.
I
Thank you.
remember commenting when I saw it. I was like, the name whole being. It's like, it's such a good like word that I never even thought of. You think of human being and being, but like whole being is just so encompassing, and it really, to me, makes a saying of what the vegan lifestyle is. That it's not a diet; it becomes your whole being. It becomes how you look at the world and how you look at things. And in our journey, I know, like, I did not at the point where I was eating a lot of the junk food, kind of, where it just come out of it, but I wanted to make a video for all of my favorite replacement items. But now, in this part of my journey, that I'm back on like mostly raw and whole food, I feel like I want to like recommend that, that way of doing things, and it's like, even though I do want to say, hey, you can eat this way if you want, but it's almost such a better experience to just clear out of all of the meat, dairy at one time, go into, I even think, of raw food. Even if you're not going to completely stay raw food, it makes you, a good way to cleanse, right? Like, what do you think is special about raw food, or what makes it such a better way to eat, like, in your opinion, or in your facts that you studied?
Correct. Yeah, thanks for that question. I've come to discover along my journey that, when I eat cooked plant foods, besides the fact that the heat has to some extent destroyed some of the nutrients, I feel like those foods are heavy. They're more dense. They kind of lower my vibration, my energy, my frequency, and I just feel much heavier. I need to sleep more.
Mm-hmm.
I literally sleep more when I have had a cooked vegan meal. And I have just discovered that, and these are like the facts. They're like these, energy measurements. They're called angstroms. And so, for example, raw fruits and vegetables have a higher energy frequency vibration than, let's say, even cooked fruits and vegetables. And of course, when you go down to the cooked animal base, it's dead. The energy is dead. The energy is gone.
Yeah.
And so not only do the metrics and the facts explain this, however, I have experienced it in my own life, in my own body, in my own energy, frequency, and vibration. So I, encourage people to, try it for yourself. Everybody who has done it and who's come back to me and talked to me about it has told me they felt their best. The thing is that there's several factors that kind of pull us off track. One could be, these memories, these cravings of comfort food, even if it's, bread, like baked bread, or, some macaroni and vegan cheese, or some, I don't know, a donut or a pastry or a cookie or something, those are comfort foods.
Yeah.
And so if someone's having a rough day and those foods are available, they're like, yeah, I'm going to dip into that. And so that takes us off track. The other thing too is we don't have the support around us because everyone else is, eating something else. They're either eating animal based, or they're eating a mix of plants and animals, or they're eating like cooked plant foods. And so we don't have that, tribe and that support and community. And so it becomes challenging, to stay on track. And our emotions get the better of us sometimes, and I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm just saying it just happens. And then the next thing you know, you're reaching for something, something that's a cooked plant meal or a cooked animal based meal or something in between. And so it is hard. I'm not saying it's easy. So what I encourage people to do, and I invite them to do, is to maybe think about, all right, well, maybe you start your day off as raw. So for your breakfast, you might have a bowl of fruit or a smoothie, a raw smoothie, or a cold pressed juice. Those are three examples. I've even had a raw salad for breakfast. I said that to someone the other day, like, what? You had a salad? I'm like, sure. And so, for me, I figure, well, if a person is struggling to stay raw, maybe one method could be to get it over with in the morning. Just kick your day off with that raw, high vibration food, and you'll start your day feeling much more energetic and lighter and happier. And then hey, if it doesn't quite go in the raw path, raw avenue for lunch, all right, you'll have some some cooked plant foods, and then for dinner you kind of see what happens there too. But I try to tell people, just be easy on themselves, and maybe along the way they're going to discover how great they feel, because
Yeah.
I've had people tell me how wonderful they felt when they went either fully raw or predominantly raw or 50-50 raw. And I also try to tell people, and I do tell them, listen, even if someone says to you, well, you ate, a cooked meal, you're not raw, I tell people, don't even pay attention to that. Don't pay attention to people who are trying to tell you you're not raw just because you had a meal here or there, or because you're 50% raw, or
Right.
you are 75% raw. Here's the definition I go by. And this is, out there in the world. And one of the books, I've relied on my journey is called Becoming Raw. And, like a high raw diet is considered between 50 and like 75% raw in weight. That's called a high raw diet. And then a raw diet is considered like over 75% raw in weight. I tell people, go by that. You call yourself where you want to call yourself. I'm not calling you anything, by the way.
I think I was over raw when I first started then. I didn't even know at the beginning that you could, like, I wouldn't eat, I'd go to get cashews and I would only buy raw cashews. Like, I mean, I was strictly very raw, but, and that went on, like I said, for like 6 months. And then I had a Chipotle, sofritas, and that was like the end of my completely raw journey. I was like, this is really,
I was like, let's get these roasted peanuts. She's like, no, they're roasted.
I think that it really did, though. The reason I think that's why there's so many 30-day challenges, or like a lot of us are trying to, encourage people to go just try it, because it's almost like something good, like a movie that you can't get someone to go see, but you know you're really going to love it. Please try it. You're going to get off all your medication. You're going to feel at a better vibration. You're going to feel more energy. You're going to, you know, also be saving all these animals that you'll see once you look at really what happens, and you know, prevent disease. And it's like, it's so exciting that we're all just really passionate about it. And if you could try it, if you could just get someone to try it, or even like you said, go a little bit into it, they will realize it for themselves, because we can continue to, you know, to talk about it. But I think that's great, the way that you're honest in your journey and you allow them to go in the pace that they need to go at. Because I think, you know, we all see people, like if I'm thinking about working out, I see someone who's in really good shape, and it's like you don't realize that they started where you were, you know. Or somebody who
Right.
like has lost a lot of weight, it's like there was one day that they said, you know what, I'm going to make the decision to go plant-based or raw or whatever it is their journey is. So what do you, other than finding vegan food, what else do you find is the one of the challenges that you see with your coaching students?
I would say so. Really, it's lifestyle. There's some lifestyle challenges with relationships. Either like with their partners or with their family, with themselves. A lot
Yes.
of us are on a journey to self love, self care, self worth, self esteem. I grew up, I'll speak for myself. I grew up hearing words like self care, self love, self esteem. I didn't hear self worth very much, but, thank God I discovered that. And so, um, a lot of us are just so disconnected from ourselves and our true selves, our higher selves, and our authentic selves. And I found that journaling, chanting, singing, dancing, deep breathing, meditation are some of the modalities that have brought me closer to myself, that have connected me more to myself. I also, find like getting some coaching, some counseling, some therapy, whatever label you want to call it, getting
Yeah.
some help from someone else who has a more objective perspective. Many people are walking around with different traumas, including myself, including others whom I've helped along their journey, including others whom I know in my personal life. Getting help from someone is super important, or at least trying to hash it out and figure it out on your own, maybe through, again, journaling, chanting, deep breathing. If you feel like crying during your meditation or your deep breathing or your chanting, you're singing, or you're going for a walk in nature, you feel like crying, cry. If you feel like laughing, laugh. If you feel like grunting and moaning and groaning and getting that trapped energy out, do it. It took me a long, long, long time to figure that out, but yeah, that's so those are some of the elements, and those kinds of um challenges in life can affect people's sleep, can affect people's bowels, people's digestion, the inflammation in the body, the mood, the hormones, again, getting back to these relationships and with others. I've already covered the relationship with oneself, but then there are this whole array of relationships with others, and that can be a slippery slope and a challenge to deal with.
Yeah.
Yes, diet can help you. Diet and exercise can help you to feel more confident and feel stronger. However, sometimes you need something else, to help you with that. And again, that could be the counseling, all of these, self-care practices, being loving and kind and gentle with yourself and with others. And I feel like, once I discovered the real vegan philosophy for the non-human animals, that opened up a whole other level and a whole other doorway of compassion for the non-human animals for also the human animals who are suffering, and of course for myself. So, for the whole planet. So, yeah, those are some of the other aspects and elements that I, look at.
I definitely see that it truly makes people more compassionate in some way, and then in some ways some people, if they don't have that proper coaching and counseling, seeing really all the things that go on that you want people to understand, but you can't seem to get that support around you, because most people I talk to, even a few people we've interviewed on here, whenever you ask, is their family vegan? It's no. Is a lot of your friends vegan? No. And that's why I think we've all built this community of people online that we've connected with. I'm so thankful for social media. It taught me so much about it. I've met such encouraging people. When you have one of those situations where something frustrating happens, you have that way to be able to vent to, that you couldn't find anything to vegan, and you have people that truly understand, also where you're coming from. But most of the people we spend our time with are not vegan. It's just right now where we are in the world at this stage in the game, is like, there's people that are more curious than ever about it, though. So it's really, it's a good thing. But I think that's difficult, especially if you're already in a relationship, and or you found this new lifestyle, and say you're in a probably looking for, didn't you write a book about this, like helping people who are single or helping with relationships?
Yes. So I wrote this book called How to Go Vegan as Singles, Couples, Families, and Friends. I'm single. I'm waiting for my vegan man to appear wherever he is. I'm looking for my
You might find him on
midlife.
this stream if you are listening.
I am seeking a midlife vegan gentleman wherever you are on planet Earth. Come and find me.
We might turn into a dating stream if we find you somewhere.
Right.
This would be awesome. Thank you
People
so
will be
much.
coming on left and right.
Vegan matchmaking.
Right?
Yeah, well, I consider myself a matchmaker, so I have no problem with that. And so, because I'm single, and that's something that interests me, and I know it interests a lot of people. I had joined several Facebook singles groups, and met some guys there. I have someone saying, "Let me make some phone
calls," right?
I appreciate
Buddha is a matchmaker too, right?
Thank you. I appreciate that. There we go. And so, I joined, several vegan singles groups on Facebook. I discovered that some of the mainstream dating apps have either a vegan indicator or a plant-based indicator, or of course you can put it in your profile. And then there's some other apps that are purely for vegans and vegetarians, and one or two websites here.
So that's pretty neat. I didn't even know that existed.
Plant-based lovers.
I've not been single since I was plant-based, but I didn't even realize all that existed, right?
Oh, there's tons of out there. Well, no. Let me take that back. There are a few out there. So in my in my ebook there about how to go vegan as singles, couples, families, and friends, I give some pointers on these different groups you can join, or different places you might consider hanging out and connecting with other plant eaters and vegan lifestylers. So but it is difficult, and I guess we don't live in a vegan world yet. # the future is vegan. And so, it's very challenging. And, some of us have decided, like myself, I only want to be with a vegan guy. I don't want to have to, go through all of the coaching and coaxing and convincing. And,
having to smell the meat cooking in your kitchen. Right?
No. And, if I were 20 years old, I would
Plus, we know vegans, I think, smell better too, right?
Totally.
They don't smell at all.
Totally. That's what I tell people.
It's so weird, right?
I tell people, you don't have to use deodorant anymore,
Right.
And
I used to forget midday, and I would know. I've at the end of the day, sometimes I'm like, in the summer, I'll be like, wait, I think I put deodorant on.
You don't need it. You don't need it. And I actually, kind of was, helping some people who are very close to me, and, they're up in their senior years, and they went plant forward during this whole upside down world of the last 3 years. And they said to me, they don't smell anymore. Their bathroom trips don't smell anymore. And I was like, yes, and they're like, their elimination is smooth, and I was like, yes.
That's so great. I bet that's so inspiring for you to feel, to see those changes as a coach, to be able to like watch someone and they tell you this happened without you, even having to ask. And I know that the constipation thing for a lot of people, it's like you become so, not to, put the stream on a bathroom way of going, but it really does. It's like when you're putting the right food in your body, everything starts working. Like I always talk about, like a car that if you were looking at what it's supposed to take, or a piece of machinery, you don't put things in it that don't belong. You don't pour water in your computer, so it's kind of like
Right.
when we look at scientifically how our bodies were designed and we start putting the right stuff in, not only do we start to heal it, but we start to actually see it run like it's supposed to. And it's like, thank you. Like your body is like, oh, you didn't have to work this hard. You don't have to take this medicine. You don't have to, struggle with this skin condition or whatever. You can literally, it's stuff that you wouldn't even expect has to do with your food. So how do people, I know we probably are running short on time, but I wanted to also go into, you have tips in that book too for how to deal with family situations and friends, because those are really tough, because you're on this journey. And I found if you just tell people your story, and they're not always going to change, but it's difficult when you care about people or they're laughing at you at the table, for example, if you are out with friends or something, people don't understand. So you find you're constantly explaining things. So that you can find that on Amazon, right?
Yeah. It's an ebook. You can easily download it on Amazon. And in addition, so in my ebook, what I talk about, for example, is really, the way I would frame it is more, we have to take responsibility. We cannot sit around and expect others to accommodate us all the time. So, because they're not going to, they don't know how to, and they probably don't want to, shall we say, open up that Pandora's box, because then it shines a light perhaps on their lifestyle that is not optimal. And they know it's not optimal. However, it's very difficult to change because we are creatures of habit. We don't like to change as humans. I can't speak for the other species. I don't know what's going on in their minds, but I know for humans, we don't like change. So let's say, you're going out to dinner somewhere, and you're going with so and so and blah blah blah, and either suggest, do your own research, suggest a place that has vegan options, suggest a vegan place. If neither of those options work, call ahead to the restaurant. If someone else is chosen, call ahead, ask them if they can prepare a vegan meal for you, if you want it cooked or raw or some combination thereof. If you need to take your own avocado and your own dressing in your purse or in your pants, I don't care where you put it, put it in your hair, I don't care. Take it there, just order, some, whatever they have on the menu. Look at the menu. If they have a salad there that has chicken on it, you say you want the salad, no chicken. And you figure out what's in that dressing. If you don't want the dressing, tell them you don't want the dressing. Can they bring you some fresh lime juice or lemon juice? I've even had fresh pressed orange juice that I have used as a dressing on a salad.
Wow.
Interesting.
Yes, because I had to become creative as a first vegetarian, pescatarian, and then as a vegan, cooked vegan, and then as a raw vegan. I had to become creative. So
what's the pescatarian?
That's people who eat aquatic animals as well, fish.
Okay.
All of And so I gotten used to going to places, because I am a foodie and I have always enjoyed going out as well. And even, when I was eating, the vegetarian pescatarian diet, I got used to asking for The chicken salad, no chicken. The shrimp salad, no shrimp. The
Mm-hmm.
pasta, no shrimp, no chicken, no meat. I just got used to it. Pizzas, no cheese, because I thought I was lactose intolerant, because that's what they say 2/3 of the human population is experiencing. I have come to realize,
It's
in my
100%.
opinion, lactose intolerance does not exist. It's because humans have no business consuming the
Exactly. Everybody's lactose
excretions
intolerant.
of other species. So sure, they say 2/3 of humans are lactose intolerant. So I bought into it. I figured, yeah, that's me. So I stayed away from dairy as much as I
The
could.
dairy industry pays a lot of money to combat what I'm saying to people to make sure their stuff gets out
It's like,
there.
gee, why
So,
do you think that is,
you can't
guys?
even Google one time and see, because there's going to be an article that's paid for likely by the meat and dairy industry. So you have to really research and see that there's more people that are saying what we're saying if you really research it. And not only lactose intolerant, they think of it as one thing, like, oh, my stomach hurts, or when I have dairy, but it makes so many different things. You don't even realize that's what's causing it. I think when you eliminate it, like for me, I have no more allergies that I thought were because of pollen, which maybe those were activating something and creating more mucus, but I don't have any allergies since I gave up meat. And likely it's dairy because that, is what I hear a lot of people say.
It's mucus forming. And thank you for mentioning the word mucus. It's inflammatory. It's mucus forming, and I mean, I know from my experience, I was in a certain country. I won't say which country it was. It's such a beautiful country. They're awesome people. I was vegetarian, pescatarian at the time. They are heavy, heavy, heavy cheese consumers, heavy cheese consumers. And so although I knew I was, quote, lactose intolerant, unquote, because I was in this country and that's what was being served, and I wasn't eating the animal flesh in and of themselves. And so I was eating the excretions in the form of cheese, for example. I had the worst diarrhea and the worst flu situation going on my way back from that country. It was horrific. I mean, I think you can just fill in all the blanks that I'm not filling in right now, but
Mhm.
it was horrific, and it just didn't dawn on me. I knew it was, but it was like, I think, see, when I was vegetarian, pescatarian, I also had people in my life who care about me, to the ends of the earth, who would say things to me like, well, where did you get your protein? And so I'd have to say to them, oh yeah, I had some yogurt. So once I said something like I had some yogurt, in those days I was consuming soy yogurt. And so they would be calm after that. They'd be like, oh, she's answered that question. Or I would say, oh yeah, I had some nuts, like I was eating like almonds and this and that. And so then that would kind of pacify them, because there's this whole focus on calcium and protein. And we have been led to believe through the marketing, advertising, all of the, bamboozling that goes on. We have been led to believe that, cheese, animal cheeses and milks and butters and dairies, that they have, the healthy calcium and the healthy protein. And so, yeah, I mean, anyway, that's another story. But yeah, that's how I kind of,
We
had
could
to
do
learn
a
that.
whole stream on that, couldn't we? We could go on and on, because it's like when you like, me and Dawn have this conversation all the time. It's just we see all the pharmaceutical commercials on TV, and it's like, oh my goodness, it's so
It's
sad that
terrible.
half of that, and then you see right after it a cow milk commercial, and it's like it's all like connected, but people don't realize it.
Good point. Good point. They're intertwined. They're intertwined. I mean, I don't even want to get into that because I don't want to cause any
It's
trouble
funny
here.
that you said secretion, because I remember Dawn now when she sees the pizza
I
commercial that
look, I
she
see
gave up
pizza
last in
commercials.
her
It's like
journey.
all I see is mucus now. It's like when they pick up a slice of pizza, and I see cheese oozing off of it. And cheese was like, I never was a big cheese eater, but I loved pizza. That's like, I just stopped eating pizza in August. So I'm coming up on a year of not having pizza, and I never was a big like I've never been into eggs like that. I would have an occasional glass of milk or have it with cereal, but almond milk does just fine. Like I said, I never was a big cheese eater, so it wasn't that big for me to convert over. But yeah, cheese, I mean, pizza was my thing. And now when I see it, I'll see a steak commercial for Outback. I think, oh, that's just dead animal flesh, or that is just mucus oozing off of that, off of that crust. That's what that is. And I tested it. When I would go for a couple of days or go for a couple of weeks without, I would clear up. As soon as I started back, the mucus came back.
You just
So
never make that
yeah, I'm like, that's
connection.
enough for me.
Yes.
When you're growing up, none of us did. I ate Outback almost every night for a while. When we were really busy, I'd stop and get the same thing at night. And so we've all been there, and it's like I never connected it. I could see a video on Facebook of this cute little cow playing with a dog, and not think in my head. Now I see that and I'm like, see, that's why they're the same, you know what I mean? But when you're growing up, you don't even make the connection. Like, this is what I eat, that's already on my plate, and this is an animal, not realizing that something had, and I totally know where people are. That's why I think when you talk about being on relationship journey, it's like, when you're like, I became raw vegan, but I never like wanted to push it, even though I knew Dawn would feel so much better if she did it. It's like you can only encourage people and say, hey, look, this is what's happening to me, all these positive changes, because you can't tell people this is what you should do, because it's many years in us of programming.
And I was already into fasting. So
she showed me the raw video. So I'm like, you're the one that did this to me.
I was gonna become a vegetarian.
You gotta do it.
I was gonna become a vegetarian. Jen took it a step further and said, let's just go vegan with it. And I was already into fasting.
Further, let's just
so
go
it
raw
just
vegan.
was a natural progression,
Yes.
It's like I'm excited to talk to someone who's a raw vegan, because we've never had even a conversation with someone other than online,
Right. Yeah, no, and I think that's the thing too. Like I try not to be pushy. I mean, I just tell people, hey, this is what I do. This is how I feel my best. I'm willing to meet you wherever you are. How can I help you? Now, of course, I'm gonna be honest. Like, with guys, like when I'm, talking to, let's say I'm chatting with a guy on, some mainstream dating app or whatever. I'm not gonna try to, like, coach him or convince him. No. I'm just trying to figure out,
He's got another agenda.
Yeah. No, I'm not for that. And then, with the vegan guys that I'm, chatting with, let's say from the Facebook groups or whatever, there it's a mixed bag of people too, to be honest. I mean, I was just chatting with some guy, and he basically, it seems like he is plant-based. So for example, the whole animal element, he's not into that. He he has a totally different view
or
of
maybe
animals.
not yet.
Right. It's a totally different view of animals compared to how we as vegans look at animals. So that was really confusing too, so yeah, I mean, I just try to, meet people where they are, if I'm coaching them or if they're in my personal life. But yeah, the whole dating thing, I'm not gonna try to convince anybody. So
Right.
No.
That's not, you're a professional coach, not a coach for your husband or wife.
No.
Right.
No, I'm not going to try to convince people in that arena. No.
It's like especially it'd be different if you were married to a man and you both were eating meat, and then you stumbled upon this journey, and then, obviously, but it's like so different when you're coming in like this. Obviously, you're like, you want somebody, usually when we meet someone, we want someone that aligns with our values, or what we want in life, or what our core, values are. So it wouldn't be any different than that, because that's a really big part of of your life. Like, it's something, especially vegan, not even like, it's not the diet where, like you said, oh, I'm mostly plant-based, I eat some meat and sometimes and this and that. That's someone who looks at it like a diet. When it becomes vegan, it's, I don't want to consume anything with animals. So that's a different, almost like, now that I think about it, you would have to come in with someone like that. That would be a very difficult journey that, that might cause even problems before they even start, right? Um,
Yeah. And I'm a part of a lot of vegan groups on Facebook. So not necessarily singles, not necessarily single vegans, just the kind of broader vegan groups. And I mean, I feel so sad for people who are sharing their stories of, their current relationships, and their person is not vegan, and they're either considering leaving the relationship, or they're struggling with the way the person is not being supportive, open-minded, etc. And it just is so sad, to see their struggle, and they're like crying out for advice and help, and or they're coming into the group just to vent and to share, and to just kind of release some of that trapped energy that they are going through in their relationships, or not even necessarily with their significant others. Some of them are struggling with their parents. I'm talking from young adults to well, sometimes you're teenagers, young adults to senior people, and they're struggling with unsupportive family members and friends and colleagues and strangers. So it is just the full gamut of experiences of not being in a vegan world. Again, hashtag the future is vegan. So my thing is that the whole community support is very, very huge. It's very important. It's necessary. It's crucial. But and I don't use the word but a lot, so I'll just say, and I'll scratch the but, and I'll say, and um what I am, I just had a conversation in a vegan group yesterday on a big global meetup situation we had, and someone made a very good point, and that is it's important for us as vegans to also get out into the non-vegan world, into the mainstream world, and communicate and be open and speak to people who are not yet vegan. Some people call them pre-vegans or pregans, and so
Previes.
sorry.
Previes.
Okay, and
that
so
sounds
There you
good.
go.
I
and
like all of
so
those. I never heard of pregan yet. I heard of
yeah,
pre-vegan. I never connected it together. I
Pregan.
love it.
yeah, and so
Previes.
that is my shall we say next mission in a lot of ways, in that I'm really going to be opening up some more doors, and knocking on some more doors who are not vegan yet, because I think staying in our bubble, in our silo, in our own little world, it's very helpful for us as vegans to have that safe space. However, I feel we need to really step outside the box,
Spread
and
it.
expand, and connect with those who are haven't really yet made the connection, or they're afraid, they're scared, they see how we are challenged with unsupportive communities, and family and friends and so forth and so on. And so they're probably like, well, they don't want they don't want people throwing tomatoes and stuff at them, if they see what we're going through, and they're like, well, I'm not joining that party.
Right.
I'm just going to stay over here where it's acceptable to be the way I am. So
Right.
it's very brave, courageous, valiant to step into the vegan world, quite frankly. And I'm seeing that more and more and more every day.
It was I have to give a shout out to my mom, because even though she's pregan, what is it? I'm gonna call it, because I'm still trying to convince her. But she, I remember, like, whenever we go for we went for Easter, I think, that very first time, and she bought all kinds of, give me a list of what you want, after she was like, well, what are you gonna eat?
Yeah.
It's like, I think food becomes emotional, and I almost was a disconnect, because I was like, my mom shows love by cooking for all of us, and it's hard to say I don't want the food, but not that I don't want your cooking at first, to people, and then they kind of get used to it. So after a year or two, you're already known as the vegan in the family, so they wouldn't offer you anything, or continue to say, are you going to be okay, are you going to be healthy, because they see you healthy. And like when you were talking about going to the restaurant, I thought about Uncle Dave. Don, I pick the same restaurant every time because I know they've got the vegan like sushi rolls that I like, and
Yeah,
he'll come to
Chinese
town a
food.
couple times a year and be like, can we go somewhere else? I'm like, no, I like this place because we don't have many
Stir-fried vegetables.
options, right? So like I can eat a lot here because there's lots of different stuff. But they've been,
Right.
supportive overall after that initial like, what's wrong with you, and are you going to be okay? You look too skinny, that type of thing. So I think it's so important in that early stage, because it would have been easy for us to give up early on when you start to feel those different things, until you find your now emotions after a couple years in. You feel these new emotions and attachments to the raw food. You start to think, I remember how good I felt like that second month when I got and sat down with my big salad and I started to, lose weight. And it's like these connections you used to have to the cheeseburger, that you might have, had when you went out to this restaurant with friends. It becomes now you're finding these new attachments to food emotionally, I think.
I agree. I mean, I certainly, get a lot of joy and happiness from just eating my fruits, my vegetables, making smoothies, making cold pressed juices, putting in my herbs and spices, coming up with some concoction to make a spread or a dip. I mean, for me, it's a joy. I mean, I have dance parties by myself, just eating fruit and eating, raw vegetables or smoothies or juices. It's just, to me, it's just great. To me, it's one of the biggest parties in the world.
I'm like really thankful for you to come on and say this, because I think a lot of people in my group, and a lot of people that even listen to the replays of this are not vegan yet. So it's like, or they're thinking about it or exploring it, and I'm really thankful that they're at least opening their mind, because that's, if I had never watched the raw documentary, I wouldn't even be able to help other people at this point. And for you, that one, not one thing turned your mind over, but like I think I was talking with Bobby a few weeks ago, and he said it's not one thing. We don't watch one video and we think it's that one thing, sometimes, or that one event, but it's all the things that have led up to that. And I think that, like you could tell by your journey, it kind of, you were piecing together, and then it's like, oh, this is where I am, this is where I belong. It's almost like you find a home that you were looking for but you didn't know, like.
Yeah, and you all were talking about fasting. Now, I'm not a fasting expert. I'm not here to suggest fasting to anybody or anything like that. However, because I am such a curious person and I'm a part of so many groups, I don't know where it is I saw this, or I might have heard an interview, because I also listen to loads and loads of interviews, and I guess it was a raw vegan, and he was saying that when he travels, let's say he's taking a flight somewhere, and I think there were a couple, and basically what was said was, because they know it's going to be challenging to get either a vegan meal or a raw vegan meal, they actually fast during the flight.
Oh, that's interesting. That's a good idea.
And that was really eye-opening for me. Now, I am such a foodie that I would probably find it hard to fast on a transatlantic flight. Okay,
Right. Depending where you were going, right?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I could probably do like a domestic flight.
Yeah. Not, half a day, right?
However, what was really great was just to hear their perspective, in that there are ways around this, or hey, you load up on your foods before you take your flight, and
Mhm.
then once you're on your flight, then you've made that decision that either you're just gonna hydrate, you can stay hydrated, or you don't stay, you've already hydrated before, and you're just gonna like sail on through your journey there on your flight, and you will be fine.
Right.
And even if it's an 8-hour flight or whatever the duration is. So all I'm saying is, there's so many creative ways of going about it. It just depends on, how we want to approach it.
And where do we I know I just have like one or two more questions. I'm gonna let you go because we've been running, I know, over, but I just wanted to find out, where can people reach out to you? Like, what's the best way if they want to get some one-on-one or a group coaching type, or personalized coaching, or find out what exactly you're offering?
Sure. Thank you. They can go to my website, www.happywholebeing.com/coaching, or just www.happywholebeing.com, or they can find me on Instagram. They can direct message me there, Happy Whole Being Vegan. Those are the two fastest ways to find me.
Okay, great.
Thank
That's where
you.
I found you. Then she responded to me, so we already got a good track record here.
Thank you.
She definitely was. You were very responsive, which I'm thankful for, and I'm assuming that's how like you are in your coaching. And
Yes.
I think, and you don't have to be afraid of where you are to,
No.
you can at any point in time, like even if you're not going to be ready right this minute, if you need to I think a lot of it is figuring out that's why there's so many what I eat in a day.
Mm.
Because people are like, it's so difficult to say this is how my life is, and I'm all pumped up right now on this, I'm on the vegan live stream, right? And I'm excited I'm going to be plant-based tomorrow. And then you wake up, you're in your same house with all your dairy milk, then you don't have any plant-based milk in the house. Like, would you say that the best thing to do is at least get the options into the house?
Totally.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. So what I tell people, yes, you have the animal base in your home. This is the way, your lifestyle has been up until now. However, first of all, you have decided why you want to do this. Okay. Get your why really, concrete. In other words, really think about it. Do you want to, go plant exclusive as a diet for your own personal health, to be energetic for your family, to achieve your life goals, etc., to excel in your whatever your chosen career is, or maybe to make some new, decisions, or do you want to go vegan because you're compassionate for the animals? Or are you more of an environmentalist and you want to, exclude animals and go plant exclusive to help the planet, Mother Earth, as she's called? So what is your reason? Are you doing this maybe for spiritual reasons? There are some people who feel for a spiritual reason that they want to go plant exclusive for their diet and or for their lifestyle. And then once you figure that out, what I say to people is, okay, you have the animal base in your home. The next time you go grocery shopping, don't go to the animal-based, dairy and egg and meat and seafood areas. Go to the plant-based areas.
Mm-hmm.
Pick up, try one or two different plant milks. There's so many, there are dozens of them at this point. It's not like when I was, vegetarian, pescatarian, way back when there was soy milk. No. There is a wide variety of plant options now. Yogurts, tons and tons of plant yogurts. Cheeses, tons of plant cheeses. Butters, a few plant options. Eggs, a few plant options. Burgers, chickens, turkeys, seafood, tons of plant options. Go for those just the next time you go shopping. Also, what I say to people, next time you're going to go buy furniture, look for a non-animal based version. Next time you're going to buy a hair care, beauty care, skin care, clothing, choose a non-animal version. So I'm not saying, that it's necessary, so to speak, to just immediately swap out everything. What I'm suggesting is the next time you're going to make that purchase or make that choice, you might think about choosing the plant version or the, the vegan version, because, in clothing, for example, not everything is plant. It could be maybe some polyester or something. I have no idea.
Right.
It's not always going to be cotton or organic cotton. So, and it's learning, it didn't dawn on me when I first went vegan that silk is not vegan. It never dawned on me.
Right.
That silk comes from worms. I wasn't even thinking about wool. My gosh, wool comes from sheep. I hadn't even thought about it. And I've actually, touched sheep in real life. I've actually worked on a sheep farm as a teenager in real life as a part of my, educational curriculum. So my point is, these types of connections are not always immediate. And I made these connections along my journey. Really. I mean, this was not, immediately.
Exactly. I think that's more of the norm than, and it's like, I think initially I want to tell somebody everything and every reason I'm vegan, but you have to realize it all started for me. If somebody had laid all that on me, I might have been like, okay, this is I don't know about this. Like, sound a little preachy, right? Because like for me it was Woody Harrelson was on this documentary that I knew from Cheers, and he was like, I just feel like so much more energy. And just his little conversation was enough for me and the other people that told their, like, stories of how they cured different things. And it was like, I think, I've been looking to eat healthy my whole life. And I'm like, this like, it sounds simple. Like, it's not, I have to count this or do this many calories, or I can eat this much of this and this much of this, or I have to eat these Weight Watchers meals or something like that. All I have to do is eat only raw food. And I'm like, and it made sense what they were saying, that living food like sprouts and things that are alive, if you think about it, they obviously have the most nutrients, because in the process of softening them, it made sense to me that you're also disintegrating the nutrients. So, and like, it just, something resonated with me about it. So it was like, that made me try it for a week. I was going to do it. Here I am 4 years later, not until like maybe 3 months in did I realize why it was even a connection, why we didn't do it for animals. It was a diet for 3 whole months until I saw like something about dairy cows and the Gary Yourofsky video, and it was like, wait, I was like, you've got to see this video. Like, I never connected. I'm looking at my cat and the leg of the cat, like, wait, okay, I'm eating like something just connected. But that was 3 months in. So if I had, maybe saw that video, I would have started, but it might have been harder because I wouldn't have known how good it feels for the health reason. So it's kind of like, and then I didn't even know until a couple of months after that, I saw someone say that the greenhouse gases were worse than driving. And I'm like, well, it helps the environment too. I am sold. I'm starting a channel. That's it. I'm going to make the world vegan. It's like, you just get fed up. Like, it's good on all different accounts. It doesn't make sense not to be vegan now. I got to tell everybody, and then it became like, it turns into a passion. So that's what happens with us. I think it's like a journey, like an evolution, to your point. So start for whatever reason you can come up with, and then you'll eventually find
your why.
I have one last question here, and I know we have to go because I could run my mouth all evening, and we all have to eat and go to sleep, I'm sure. But what do you find? I've been looking more into fruit like lately. Do you find that fruit, I just want to ask someone who's kind of more of an expert, is better to gear more of your diet on fruit when you're raw? Or I've just been mostly veggies, a little bit of fruit, but lately I've been kind of reading more about fruits and how they can really lift your vibration. So I was wondering your thoughts on that.
Yes, in my experience, and based on what I've learned on my journey, just like through reading and just listening to other experts, because I am a big consumer of vegan media and raw vegan media, And also I'm a big consumer of my own experiences. I find that fruits raise my vibration much higher. So generally, most of my consumption consists of fruits until the evening time. And then to kind of lower my vibration, lower my energy, lower my frequency, to kind of settle down a little bit. Because, yes, the dance parties are great all day. But then, by bedtime, I really don't want to be like, dancing, like whooping it up too much. And so then I move more into the vegetables. I eat a lot of the grounding vegetables in the evenings. Like the leafy greens, like, the lettuces, the carrots. I do eat some fruits. And I also add more of the healthy fats for the evening. So the heavier kind of energy, the heavier, more grounding energy with the flax seeds or the hemp seeds or the chia seeds, and make like a dip or, some kind of, spread or something. And, use that for some raw tacos. So I will use the lettuce, usually romaine lettuce, as like the taco, the boat, or the thing, whatever, the chip, like in the old days it would be the chips.
Right.
And not to say that I haven't had chips in 5 years, of course I have, like your tortilla chips and so forth. But like, for my raw element, I'll use like the leaves of the romaine lettuce and just kind of dunk it in the dip or the spread and eat that. Or take a carrot and dunk it in there and eat the dip off of the carrot and munch on the carrot. Or I'll just have like, these types of grounding vegetables just by themselves. I just sometimes just go munch on a few carrots, and it's amazing how sweet the carrots are. Mm-hmm. However, they're also very grounding. The other thing too, because I was speaking with someone recently, and she did one of my 7-day raw vegan challenges, and she was saying that she was kind of more on the green vegetable side, and she wasn't really consuming a lot of fruits, and and there was some concerns maybe about some hydration and constipation. And the thing is, with fruits, you're going to get more water. The fruits have a higher water content, and of course they're sweeter, and to me they're super yummy, and they have more calories. So a person who is having trouble keeping weight on, you will get more calories as well as a higher frequency, higher vibration, more energy, all that fructose, and all of the fruit sugars that are going to feed our brain function, as well as our entire system or ecosystem in our bodies. So yeah, I mean, if a person's struggling to keep weight on a raw diet, I would say add more fruits. Mm-hmm. I think that the greens and the veggies are awesome for all the minerals, especially for me anyway. Of course, the vitamins, minerals, antioxidants. But I found the vegetables are awesome to give that big punch of minerals, and the fruits are awesome to give that big punch of vitamins. Of course, they have the minerals and the antioxidants, phytochemicals, phytonutrients as well, but I think you need both. My diet consists predominantly of fruits, mm-hmm. as I said, and then in the evening I incorporate the veggies, and I still have some fruits in the evenings as well.
Do you have favorite fruits?
I'm very seasonal. I eat seasonally, I eat as locally as I can, and I eat as organically as I can. So currently, because I'm in the northwest of the U.S., I have been, and we're still kind of climbing out of winter. Right. It's supposedly spring, and it looked like spring today, so that was awesome. But gosh, it's been a while. And so I predominantly, I guess, since the fall and winter, I've been predominantly eating lots of apples, pears, different colors, because it's important for us to get all the different colors. And I'm really glad that you have this beautiful array of colorful plant raw foods here as the backdrop here, on the live.
Thanks,
and
Tom.
I couldn't resist it. It looks so beautiful, and it is. It's got a little bit of everything, and the colors just pop.
Yeah, and so I eat seasonally, so I've been eating different apples, different varieties, different pears, different varieties, citrus, different varieties. I also add herbs like for example, here where I am, I get organic U.S. grown parsley, dandelion,
Wow.
beets. Beets, I eat raw beets, either red or golden. Carrots, sometimes different color carrots or sometimes the orange ones. Leafy greens, either like the butter lettuce or the
I think I've only
romaine.
ever seen orange carrots. What other colors
Me
are there?
too.
No, they're purple. They're purple and yellow ones.
I didn't even
What?
know that.
Carrots.
I learned something new. Many things,
Oh,
but that was
wow.
one. And what do you like? I think some people feel like it's like, well, mine was boring because all I did was eat this really huge salad, but I made it like you reminded me of that. I would take the spinach and a lettuce and roll up like maybe a little bit of corn and my sprouts and everything in it and dip it. But I've realized over time, like you said, the vegetables, I'd stopped wanting to use processed dressing and couldn't come up with my own. So like lately, I've just been eating the actual vegetables, which would have sounded crazy to me because I like dressing better um than vegetables. But what do you like tend to eat? Because Dawn's really, she can get creative with what she makes, but mine tends to be boring. So do
I
you
would
eat like just salads or?
for your salads to replace those bottle dressings that have all kinds of junk in it. And believe me, I used to eat so much dressing. I remember I was at a family gathering years ago. I was like the vegetarian pescatarian person back then, and one of my relatives said to me, "Oh, you're having a little bit of salad with your dressing," because I had so much dressing on my salad that was mainly, it looked like it was mostly dressing and very little salad. And so
That's funny.
what I have learned along my journey here, particularly when I really stepped into the raw, shall we say, lifestyle, what I started to do was I use my blender and I will put a little bit of water. I will chop up some apple, and then I will put different herbs and spices. And then I will maybe add an herb like parsley or cilantro or dandelion or something. And I will blend that up. And then I will also add maybe some seeds, like some hemp seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds, and make it, if I want it thicker. So it depends on how thick you want your dressing, your sauce, your dip. It also depends on how heavy you want it, and if you want to add those beautiful, healthy, clean omega-3 fatty acids and protein in there with the seeds, or you may want to put some nuts in there, maybe some raw walnuts. You might soak them before. It's recommended. Yeah, you recommend, they recommend we soak the raw walnuts. I personally, sometimes I'm a bit lazy and I don't always soak mine. Or the raw almonds, they recommend we soak those as well. Sometimes I'm lazy, I don't soak mine. And so you can put those in there if you want to give it that nut element to it, or the seed element with the flax seeds, chia seeds, hemp seeds. So it really depends. But dressings are super easy to make. A little bit of water, whatever fruit you have on hand, and just a few herbs and spices. Blend that up. Bam, you have a beautifully yummy dressing.
Oh, that is great. I'm taking notes here. I might even
It's
have not a dry salad tonight.
no, it's very, very easy, believe me. And you can just drizzle that on your salad, or even on your tacos, your raw tacos. Let's say what I was doing for a while, I would have like I would use the romaine lettuce leaves as a boat, and then as a taco shell. And then I would like chop up apples, or let's say pears or something like that, peaches or something. If it's like now we're coming into like rock fruit season. Oh, that's gonna be awesome with all those plums and peaches and all of
I love
apricots
plums
and
and
everything.
peaches.
Oh,
We don't
and
get
so
peaches enough. I feel like we should get some.
Yeah,
Yellow
or if
peaches.
you have like berries, strawberries, blueberries, and then you blend up, some concoction of a dressing with a water, some water, fruits, herbs, spices, put some seeds in there if you wish, or nuts, and then you blend it up and you just drizzle it over the fruits that you have on your raw taco. Or let's say you have some zucchini or some squash, you can chop that up, or a cucumber or tomato, chop that up, put that in your taco shell boat of your lettuce. Or if you have like Rome, iceberg lettuce or butter lettuce, the more round ones, I love the iceberg lettuce sometimes too, because they if you
That
cut it
with
in
the outer
half.
layer.
It's a
Yeah.
lot firmer. A
Yes,
lot more
yes.
firm.
Yes, and it's like a curvy cup. It's like a ready-made cup or a ready-made taco, and you can just
Right.
put your fruits and veggies in there that you've chopped up, let's say, and then you can drizzle your dressing that you just blended, for example, and you just kind of hold it together and you munch on it, and it's super yummy and it's super easy, and it's all natural. Like it didn't come out of a bottle, that's been sitting
Yes.
on the shelf.
I think what made me what was I listening to? I don't know what made it's like another evolution happened with the processed things, because it was like I would be fine going and getting I felt like it's just getting more and more to a point where I didn't want anything that was even on a shelf or something. Like even like the olives, I started looking at the back of them and like, oh,
Yeah,
what's that? It's like, oh, you don't know what these things have, what effect they have on us if you think about it. So it's like if you're doing all this work to eat all these fruits and vegetables, I started thinking, then I'm drizzling this dressing that has this guar gum and all these weird names that I can't pronounce. And I'm like, okay, so I'm not fully like, and then I started thinking, if is it organic, and trying to find the kind that has little, it's very hard to find something that comes off a shelf that has like five main ingredients that's not one of these weird big words. So I just got really kind of, it took me to another level of, it sounds like where you are, where you don't, I will eat it from time to time,
yeah,
obviously,
yeah.
but like for the most part what I eat is just basically whole food. And like, when I eat cooked, it's beans, rice, and there's so many different kinds of beans. That's what,
Oh,
there's so many different fruits, there's so many vegetables, there's so many combinations. I think people think, oh, I'm not going to know what to eat, but it's like you're only taking out really three things. Think about what meat you eat, and and your cheese, which you can make cashew cheese. Like there's really good, it's so, it's like there's so many things, so much more variety that you add to your life that when you take out the meat, oddly enough, right?
I discovered so many new fruits and vegetables and herbs and spices when I went vegan, and even more, I would say, when I went raw vegan, compared to when I was on the standard diet, compared to when I was vegetarian, pescatarian. I have just kind of stepped into a whole big, big, big world of, well, they say there are thousands of fruits and vegetables, herbs and spices out there. Now, of course, I don't have access to thousands of them, but I've just discovered so many more. I mean, I just think it's a lifestyle of abundance. It can be. You all were asking me earlier, for those, about what do I eat and so forth and so on, because I like to tell people to try to eat a wide variety of colors. Some people call it, eating the rainbow. Eat all your
Right.
colors, your reds, oranges, yellows, greens, blues, purples, whites, browns, and blacks. Eat all of your colors. On the standard diet, a lot of it is, stripped, processed, beigey looking food, brownie looking food. Where are the greens? Where are the reds, the yellows, the oranges? Where the
Right.
purples, the blues? Where are those colors?
Eat what you see behind us.
So sorry, that was just a thing that came in. A lot of times, I see dishes even on social media, and I really applaud all of those who are going, vegan and plant based. And who are trying to get off the standard diet. However, one of the elements that I feel is missing is the color. There's just not enough variety. People are not being adventurous and experimental and really embracing, the variety of plant foods that we have.
Right.
I learned the expression as a teenager. Shout out to Wendy Harris, this elderly lady who taught me this expression: variety is a spice of life. And I have
Right.
used that motto and that approach throughout my life, including as a plant eater. So I really would encourage and invite people to really try some new veggies. If you've never had radishes before, or you've only had them in a restaurant or at a friend's house or a relative's house, buy some radishes. What I do personally and what I recommend others do too is, challenge ourselves to add a new fruit or vegetable when we go shopping. Maybe not every time we go
Yeah.
grocery shopping, but maybe, once a week, once every 2 weeks, or whatever, a month or whatever. Try a new one, or don't always buy parsley. Buy some dandelion, buy some cilantro, buy some I don't know, rutabaga, buy some parsnips, if you're going to cook them or eat them raw, whatever you want to do,
Right.
just experiment a little bit and open up your palate, open up those flavors and nutrients. Every single color is going to have a different set of nutrients. A red apple has different nutrients than a green apple, different nutrients than a yellow apple. The same thing with I don't know, different citrus. Lemons are going to have a different nutrient profile than oranges or grapefruits, for example. So sure, they're very similar, but they also have some nuances that we need.
Right.
And what is the like? There's a lot of health benefits in the spices. It sounds like you add those into your diet. I never think about spices really as having the new. They're just like to flavor stuff. But I notice you speak of that a lot. Like you put spices in the smoothies and the
Yes.
things.
Yes.
So I know that they probably are doing a lot of stuff for our body that I'm leaving out too. So
Yeah. Well, they're anti-inflammatory.
oh
They
wow,
have, yeah, and they also have vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants, phytochemicals in them.
wow.
So yeah, so sure, they add a lot of flavor on the standard diet as well as the plant diet, but they also have nutrition in them. They have really powerful nutrients in them, be it the dried herbs and the ground or the fresh ones. So I personally embrace herbs and spices. I encourage others to try them and keep adding to your to your collection, in your pantry.
Yes, definitely. I'm definitely gonna do that. I'm gonna start trying some new veggies because even though I eat a lot of fruits and vegetables in a day, I feel like I do the same ones. So you've inspired me to, get these. One time I got a different kind of melon because they couldn't, like when I got my groceries delivered, they brought the replacement one. So like sometimes I think about trying other fruits and then I'm like so used to just ordering the same thing. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna order my oranges, my blueberries, and my, a couple of things that watermelon this time of year is so good and it's so filling,
Yes,
the fruit. And you're right. I think you just answered my question that I've had all this time. How could I go more all raw and sustain so that I'm not going, because like when I go raw, I feel like I continue to lose weight like I did for the 6 months because you do really not need to eat that much because your stomach kind of, but the fruits I think is what I was missing in my diet that would have put on the calories. And so that was
I
a
think
big thing
so.
that I wasn't doing because I was thinking sugar before I really learned what these are different sugars than,
Right.
I was like, oh, I can only have, 5 blueberries or whatever at the end of the night. Like I was so strict with everything, thinking back to my standard American diet that you can't eat sugar, but it's completely different sugar anyway. We could talk all evening. So tell me exactly, just one more time. So, well, if you go to the description in this video, you can find all the links to the Amazon where you can purchase your books and you can find the website. We've got your Instagram in there, every link that you sent and your um I don't think we had enough space. I didn't put the whole bio. I think she put the links for
No,
me.
no,
Which,
no, no.
thank
Don't
you.
worry about. Yeah,
Okay.
don't worry.
But it has been so fun. What would you want to say, like in recap? And I'll wait for Dawn to return just to make sure she doesn't have any last
Hey,
things to
I'm
say
good.
too. But what is your message you want to give the world, or I guess how many people will listen to this? Maybe not the whole world. Maybe one day, right? We can wish.
Yeah. Yes, yes. First of all, I want to just thank you both so much for inviting me. Thank you for this beautiful conversation. Thank you to everybody who joined either live on the replay. My message, gosh, I have so many messages. I guess, just to, give this plant life a try. Educate yourself, be open-minded, learn about human health, animal well-being, animal health, and the planet, our Mother Earth. Let's be kind to ourselves. Let's love ourselves. Let's be kind to other humans, to other non-human animals, and to planet, to Mother Earth. And use it as an adventure, as a beautiful journey, a beautiful experience. It could be a slippery slope. It's very challenging, but if you need support, then join tons of vegan groups, and you all have a group on Facebook that people can join. There are tons of and you don't have to just join one. I'm a member of tons of groups, many groups, because each group has a different energy, a different focus maybe, or different people and different challenges and stories that people are sharing, and we're all walking each other home. I heard this expression some time ago, and it's really resonated with me. We're all walking each other home on this journey we call life, and I just feel like we need to be patient with each other, compassionate with each other and with ourselves. A lot of people have a lot of guilt when we go vegan. We're like, oh my gosh, how could I have been so out of it? How could I have just been so oblivious, so unaware, unawakened, to what was going on, or what is going on the standard diet. And we need to have compassion for ourselves and be patient with ourselves and with each other. And people are trying, and if they have a little slip and they go back to eating animal based, let's try to just be kind and gentle with them, and not bash them so much. And let's just be patient and understanding that it's challenging, and I just want to applaud everybody who has gone vegan, who has gone plant-based, who've gone flexitarian, who are really trying. I really want to applaud all of you for all of your efforts and all of your accomplishments along the way. And I just want to thank you both so much again, and thank everybody else.
Thank you.
Thank you
have
for
any
being here.
Last words?
No, I was just going to say I really enjoyed listening to your journey, and you have a very, very vibrant way of speaking, and your energy is just off the charts. So
definitely, and that's those fruits. That's what it is.
Yes, the fruits. But I appreciate everything that you had to say, and come back, see us again.
I know, right?
Thank you.
I feel like I could have asked you 100 more questions, but we have to end at some point, right? So, thank you for being here. I really am grateful.
Yes, thank you both so much, and thanks everybody else. Yeah, and I will message you afterwards there in the chat that we were having there over on Instagram to thank you all so much. And just have a beautiful rest of your day, everybody. And thanks to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy your evening.
Thank you too. Bye-bye.
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 If we can become a plant-based nation, we could get off all our medication. We want to keep doing things like we were, donating to organizations claiming to fight for a cure. But the cure is already in front of our eyes, and it's time for us to wake up and realize. We may not want to believe we have control. It's easier for most of us to metaphorically live in a hole. So many stories of how being plant-based has reversed disease. It's funny that we can't stop eating meat with ease. We want to continue to look for the answer, yet people have reversed even cancer. I think finally as a nation, it's time to give people the truthful information. Your hard-earned money is what you pay to take your medicine day after day. Sadly, there's a lot of money being made in people staying sick. This has to finally make something click. We have to have this revelation that a cure means not selling medication. There's so many myths and misconceptions, but it's eye-opening once you make the connections. That meat and dairy are causing insulin resistance. It's not sugar and carbs causing diabetes, for instance. Scientifically, our bodies are not set up like carnivores. We model those who eat plants. If you can heal, why not give it a chance? You follow your car's owner's manual for what gas it takes, yet for our bodies without care, we feed it steaks. That's like giving an unleaded car diesel to drink. Our bodies will reject it, don't you think? I'm not here to tell you what to do, but to be a voice, that when it comes to your health, you have the choice. With just a few adjustments to your diet, I can help if you just want to try it. I've found testimonials that people have reversed every ailment and disease by simply eliminating meat, eggs, milk, and cheese. There's a tasty substitute for all the things you already eat. You can get all your nutrients without eating meat. Save the animals, the environment, and yourself just by making a few different selections off the grocery store shelf. It's never too late. I've seen it work at all age ranges. It's my passion, and I can't wait to hear about your positive health changes. It's time for the world to wake up and heal, and you can start with your very next meal.